Last time I took a look at Sonic the Hedgehog, I sang my praises of Sonic Frontiers, claiming that it may be the very beginning of a very powerful comeback for Sonic the Hedgehog as a whole. However, earlier that year I did take a look at Sonic the Hedgehog with the classic Sonic trilogy and the Sonic Adventure duality, and while I wasn't the biggest fan of Sonic 1 and Sonic Adventure 2, I do still think that Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Sonic Adventure are some of the best games in the entire series. However, there is a game that I purposely avoided because I didn't have a way to record it. A game unknown by the masses for most of its life, and that little game is known as Sonic CD. I actually have a surprising amount of history with this game. When 3D phones were a thing, my grandma managed to get one of those. Somehow. In Venezuela. The point is, the phone had a lot of different games and whatnot. There was a golf game in there, I thought that was pretty cool. There was some cool UI, I liked that a lot. But more than that, there was Sonic CD. A demo at least. The demo featured 2 zones and a boss, those being Palm Tree Panic Zone 1 and one of the Quartz Quadrant zones, and its boss as well. I had a lot of fun. I didn't really care that it was like 5 minutes long. I still enjoyed that game like there was no tomorrow. Simpler times, Now that I think about it as well, I did also play the demo for Sonic 4 Episode 2 on my mom's phone, and I did also enjoy that a lot. Guess I'm just drawn into mediocre Sonic games, huh? Anyway, speaking of Sonic history, Sonic CD was originally developed as an enhanced port of Sonic 2, but was later made into another game entirely, and a couple years later had a re-release on the Gems collection, and then the HD port came out for most platforms. Before the ports, the game was praised, but it also had this weird aura around it. At least that's what the stories I've heard say. But when the ports started coming out, like any other Sonic game, perception of the game immediately changed. Listen, all I'm saying is that according to a Sonic cycle, it's only a matter of time before people start saying that Sonic Chronicles fuck. During a period of weakness in my life last year, I ended up buying Sonic Origins since it was a functional game collection, which is more than I can say for other Sonic games, and since I do have the game, I may as well take advantage of my investment, and you know what I mean? No matter what I say about Sonic CD, the style of the opening and the ending has always been the best thing about it, behind the music. It captures the essence of Sonic perfectly, and the animations are pretty damn sick. The music as well, both the OP and the ED have their own songs, and counting the 2 different versions of the OST, that'll make 4 different songs for the OP and the ED. I won't get into the music of the game just yet, but I wanted to mention how freaking sick these things are. When it comes to the game itself, well, as you can see, the game looks pretty much the same as Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, and it plays pretty much the same as well. You run around from one part of the level to the other end of it, collect rings, defeat enemies, and that's all reference alert! What's that? Well, if you touch it, you'll realize that you've gone far enough from your original destination and have found yourself right at home. You old fuck. Sonic can now travel through time. That's the main mechanic of this game. Scientists are still trying to figure out how the title connects to the mechanics themselves. Throughout the levels, you will find these signs, very similar to the signs you will find at the end of a level. And if you go through these signs, then you start getting stars behind you when you go fast. And go fast enough, and Sonic dips to the times of primates. There is also the alternative of going to the future, which allows you to see a pleasant the hell is this? Okay, so, back at the present you find that there are certain generators that are not interactable, but go back to the past and you find that the generators are perfectly working, and if you destroy them and go back to the future, you find that everything is so nice and pretty. Oh yeah, we did it team! Let's go fellas, we stopped NFTs, woo! Breaking these generators are one of 2 ways to get the true ending of the game, as you can also go the more traditional route of going to get the special rings, getting an epilepsy attack, and obtaining the time stones. I finally figured out what Sonic CD means! When it comes to the levels, they look pretty nice, but environmental storytelling be damned, because you can't explain to me why so many of these places are names for like a fucking RPG attack. The graphics of the game are pretty good, the game is extremely colorful and full of life, the sprites at the very least feel more advanced than Sonic 1 and 2, and the stages are all very visually pleasing as well, but the entire game just simply feels like a more advanced version of Sonic 1. Green Hill, Springyard, Marble Zone, Labyrinth, Starlight, and Scrap Brain all feel very similar to the stages in Sonic CD. And the damn game nearly copies them in order too. I would love to say that the comparisons end there, but to be entirely honest, I felt like the gameplay felt like Sonic 1 as well. Not in a good way. If I had to describe Sonic CD, it would be the opposite problem of the first and second games, since unlike those 2 games in which exploring is really not fun, exploring in here is the most fun. But it comes at a cost. An overpriced collection, since you're either searching for the stones, Well, I definitely felt stoned playing those special stages. Or looking for the generators. Exploration is heavily encouraged in Sonic CD. Oftentimes, simply going straight is not going to lead into either or. As the levels progress, they obviously get more challenging, as well as the generator placement getting harder to spot. But the levels are enjoyable precisely because they are designed with the mentality that you'll be jumping around trying to find this shit. So, what do you get once you guarantee the true ending of the game, like how I did collecting all the time stones? Well, the game simply becomes a boring, mindless, dickish, and annoying game that's about as good as Sonic 1, possibly even worse. The levels are just the absolute biggest waste of your time. They are constantly filling them up with springs that last you 7 family generations and you would still have too many of them. You're constantly bouncing around the damn place when you're simply trying to move forward, and it's frustrating because that's really the only thing interesting in most levels. Wacky Workbench ain't the name of a Sonic stage, it's the name of the local trampoline park. Not to mention that as a result, trying to get to a pass at all can be a pain sometimes. And let me ask, what is the point of going to the future? At all. I go to a future, it's bad. Then I go back to a past, which is another ordeal in and of itself. Then I go back to the present and then back to the future? What do I even gain from visiting the future other than acting like I'm the better person for saving the animals? The frames are more important here! Because I'm in the bounce house, this also leads to many enemies getting in my ass in multiple occasions, which, spoiler alert, makes the time stones a pain to collect as well, because whoop, there goes all my rings. And why are there even time stones in the first place? That way players can just straight up ignore all the things that you crunch your damn workers for, Sega! My problem with Sonic CD is that it forces down a playstyle. If you want to explore the game, great, you're gonna have a lot of fun, probably. But playing it normally is not really that fun or interesting. It can feel quite mindless, which never happens in a Sonic game. You can explore if you want to in any Sonic game, or you can go through levels as well. Simply that, you just boom, they're done. But in CD, it's either the fun thing or the not fun thing at all. And even with the fun thing, how the hell am I supposed to discover this? The best aspect of the game is easily, and to not much of a surprise, the music of the game. Sonic CD is one of the most unique Sonic games in the sense that many of them have very good soundtracks, but this motherfucker straight up said, I got another one in me! The Japanese and American versions of the soundtracks, really, how much more political can you get? Both of the soundtracks are freaking wicked, man, and both for very different reasons as well. They both have very different styles, and in some cases I wish I could customize which version I get per stage, because sometimes I do like the American version more. But most of the time I do think the JP version is a bit more better, good. And it's a shame that I can't listen to both. And that's Sonic CD. I mean, it's alright. The game had the potential to be one of the better Sonic games, but with the reasons we already discussed in the video, I feel like its potential wasn't completely accomplished. But I can still see a lot of people heavily enjoying the game, and good for you if you do. But I want to go fast in Sonic games, please. I'll probably jump into the rest of the Sonic series at some point, but right now I want to tackle some other games. So, until then, I'm just a random stranger on the internet, but you can just call me Sudo.